Hello and welcome to Gardening Naturally with Green Fingertips, where we share tips and tricks to help you grow your garden naturally and sustainably. Today we are talking about how you can use coffee grounds for plant food. So, if you're a coffee lover, if you make real coffee, ground beans, the proper deal coffee, you probably know you can use coffee grounds for more than just coffee. They are actually an excellent source of nutrients for your plants and make very, very good plant food. An excellent source of nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, the big three, the essential nutrients your plants need to thrive. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use coffee grounds as a natural fertilizer for your plants to help reduce kitchen waste. Before we dive into it, let's talk about why using coffee grounds is such a good idea. Okay, so coffee grounds are rich in nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So the big three, the three nutrients your plants need to thrive. Nitrogen helps with stem and leaf growth. Potassium helps with flowers and fruits, and phosphorus helps to promote root growth. So all three are incredibly essential for a plant to thrive, and coffee grounds contains all three. In addition to this, coffee grounds also contains micronutrients such as magnesium, calcium and copper. These are also very important nutrients for your plants. As I say, they're a micronutrient rather than a macronutrient, which nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus are, but they are still essential for to the general health of your plants. So to have those in there as well really does help to give an overall health boost to your plants. Another benefit, I would say benefit to using coffee grounds as a plant food, is that it can actually help to make your garden, your soil more acidic. Can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. But if you've got plants that prefer more acidic soil, or you've got container plants that are growing and need more acidic soil, this really does help to support them. Ericaceous plants, more acid-loving plants, they really do need a bit more of the acid fertilizers, acid feeds. So the coffee grounds are a perfect example of this. And they, as I say, over time, over a period of time, if you overuse coffee grounds, if you use them quite often, if you're always putting them on the garden, always putting the compost in, you're going to end up with more acidic compost or acidic soil. So it's good if you've got plants that prefer that, that's fine. But if you haven't, try and limit the amount that you put in. And finally, using coffee grounds. So if you're a coffee lover, you can develop and gather quite a lot of coffee grounds over time. This actually is a really good way of reducing your kitchen waste as well. So not only are you feeding your plants and supporting your garden and the wildlife and nature in your garden, but you're also helping the environment as well by reducing waste. So, it goes both hands. So it's a win-win, shall we say. So now we know the benefits, let's talk about how you can use them. First of all, you need to collect your coffee grounds up. So if you're making coffee, or if you know anybody who makes real coffee, ask them to hold them for you. Speak to local cafes. Now I like coffee, but I don't have a real coffee machine. So I don't make my own grounds, if that makes sense. So I contacted cafes, friends and family, anyone who makes sort of real coffee, and asked them to donate me some waste if they can. So that's always a good way to do it. So once you've got your coffee grounds, that's the hard bit. Once you've got your coffee grounds, you can use them in several different ways. The most straightforward method is simply sprinkling the coffee grounds onto your soil. So you can use them as a top dressing, or you can use them to dig in and around the roots of your plants. So if you sprinkle a light layer around the roots of your plants on the soil, on top of the soil, these will break down over time. And if you do them in the autumn time as well, as the cold weather comes through in the winter, it will break down faster and go into the soil and support the soil as well as feeding your plants in the spring. So it's really good doing it that way as well. But you can do it all year round. I would avoid the winter if you can, but autumn coming into winter is good. But the winter, your plants aren't going to need so much food, if any. They're all going to be in dormancy, so you're not going to need to feed them. So maybe not winter, but spring, summer, autumn, absolutely fine. You can also use the coffee grounds, to mix with your potting soil if you want to. So if you're potting up like ericaceous plants, you haven't got ericaceous soil, or you want to refresh the compost in the containers they're growing in, you can mix coffee grounds with compost and do it that way. That works really well to make a nice acidy soil. Or as I just mentioned, you can add them directly to your compost. So this is what a lot of people will do if they make real coffee. If you have coffee grounds quite often, adding them to a compost heap is really effective. But as I say, over time, this will make the compost more acidic. So if you've got a garden that's mainly like plants that like neutral to or alkaline soil types, if you like, then this isn't always an effective way of using your coffee grounds. If you've got plants, if your garden is more acidic, you can often tell this by the plants that are growing in there. If you've got more magnolias, camellias, if you've got more pines and things like that growing in the garden, if you've got trees growing, if they're more pine trees, they tend to be more acidic loving plants. So if you see what plants you've got growing, if you're not sure what type of soil you've got, that'll give you a good idea. You can always do a pH test as well. So that's often a good way of checking to see what your soil is like. I have done videos as well in the past, which I will share. I will link in the end of this video, So you can watch it next on how you can tell what type of soil you've got and how to condition it. So you can check that out. That might give you a hand to find out what type of soil you've got. But yes, if you've got more acidic loving plants, adding the coffee grounds to your compost is a really good way of using it up. But if you haven't got more acidic loving plants in your garden or acidic soil in your garden, that can be a bit detrimental to the rest of the plants growing in your garden. So yeah, as much as it's a good way of using it, not always the best. So something to bear in mind. But you can add it to your compost heap, absolutely fine. They compost down perfectly well. So things to bear in mind, as I said just now about the increasing the acidity of the soil too much, if you've got plants that don't prefer or don't like acidic soil, something to look out for. Also, if you when you're doing a top dressing of the coffee grounds, if you lay them too thickly, it can also sometimes, on occasion, prevent the water. It block the water from getting down to the roots of your plants. So when you're layering it out, don't lay it too thick. Have a nice spread out. Spread the coffee grounds out nicely. It will help them to break down faster as well and get into the soil where you want them, to the roots of your plants, so they can break down and feed the plants quickly. It won't block the water out, which is really good. So that will also help to break them down faster, if the water can get through nicely. So that's a really good way of doing it. So spread them out nicely, give a thin layer, and that will be all you need. Another way you can use coffee grounds, as well as composting, top dressing and mixing with your potting compost to refresh your containers for acid-loving plants, is you can make coffee ground tea. Now it sounds a bit of an odd one because coffee, tea, two different things, but this is like compost tea. So not one that you can really drink, probably wouldn't kill you, but wouldn't be very pleasant. Making coffee ground tea. So basically you can do this by mixing the coffee grounds with water, 1 cup of grounds per 5 litres of water or thereabouts. Doesn't have to be an exact science, but you get the idea of the mixture ratio to mix it to. And then let it steep or let it soak for 24 hours. So let it like brew, if you like, for 24 hours, minimum of 24 hours. You can leave it for longer if you want to. So the longer you leave it, the more the grounds will break down, releasing the goodness into the water. So after this period of time, however long you want to leave it, after 24 hours, you can then strain off the coffee grounds, use the water then to feed your garden. So this is a ready to use feed, so you can just use the water straight away. Once it's strained off and there's no coffee grounds left in it, you can use that as a ready to use feed. You can bottle it up and save it, or you can use it instantly. It just gives the water a bit of a boost of all the nutrients that the coffee grounds hold as well. So it's like using cooking water from your vegetables, or we spoke about the other day. Hopefully you've seen it. I did a video the other day on making banana skin liquid feed as well. Same principle. You're soaking the banana skins for a minimum of 24 hours, and the potassium from the banana skin gets leached down into the water, creating a ready-to-use potassium-rich liquid feed. So the same principle on that front. So basically that's banana tea. Yes, the same principle for the coffee tea. So that's it. So it's a really effective ready-to-use liquid feed for your plants, but using the coffee grounds and water. Very easy. Minimum of 24 hours time. But yeah, very effective way of doing it. And as I say, you can store that as a ready-to-use feed for a later date. Okay, so some plants that benefit more from using the coffee grounds as a feed, if you're using a top dressing or using them with their own containers to refresh the compost in the containers, using the liquid, if you're making coffee ground tea, using anything like that, there are some plants that do prefer a more acidic feed over a more alkaline or more neutral feed as well. So plants such as tomatoes, roses, hydrangeas, as I said just now, magnolias, azaleas, camellias, things like that, they like a bit more acidic soil. So they will greatly appreciate a bit of feeding with coffee grounds. The acidity of the coffee grounds will boost them as well, which will help to condition the soil up and help to keep them going. So that's really good. So they're good plants to use it for. Any plants that prefer acidic soil, spot on, perfect. But there are some, as I say, not all plants are made equally. Some plants do prefer more alkaline soil. If you're growing these plants, yeah, try and avoid, if you can, using the coffee grounds or coffee ground tea or mixing it to your compost, because I don't think they'll appreciate it that much. Minimal amounts, fine, not a problem, but over periods of time, it will affect the pH of the soil, making it more acidic, and then the plant won't appreciate it. So a little bit, it's fine, just don't overuse it. So a good rule of thumb when you're thinking about plants that you're not sure if they like acidic soil or not, or you're not sure whether you want to, if you're at risk of affecting the acidity of the soil in your garden, using 25% coffee grounds in your compost in the garden, anything like that, is a good rule of thumb to go with. So as I say, err on the side of caution if you're not sure. Less is more in that side of things, but if you know they like acidic soil, you're good to go. Using coffee grounds as plant food is a really easy way to feed your garden organically and naturally and sustainably, which is what we're all about here on Green Fingertips, whilst reducing kitchen waste. Again, environmentally friendly, absolutely spot on, love it. So I hope this video has inspired you to start to maybe collect or ask people about coffee grounds if you know anybody who makes raw coffee, if they can save you some coffee grounds every now and then, and use them to feed your garden. Because there are loads of different ways that you can feed your garden naturally and sustainably. And I do like to talk to them quite often on this channel. So, if you want to check some more videos out, fantastic. I'll leave them the playlist linked at the end so you can check them all out and hopefully learn a bit more. I hope this video has inspired you. If you have used coffee grounds to feed your garden in any different way than what I've mentioned today, or the ways that I have mentioned today, please share them in the comments below, and so we can all kind of learn a bit more from that. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to learn more about how you can grow and support your garden naturally and sustainably in the future. Thank you for watching my video on how you can use coffee grounds for plant food. And I hope, as I say, I hope it's inspired you. I hope it's encouraged you to try and use coffee grounds or more organic materials, if you like, kitchen waste materials to feed your garden, to make foods for your garden. If you want to check out more videos on making plant food from kitchen waste or sustainably growing your garden, please check out the playlist at the end, which is all about my feeds and treatments playlist. So it's got all the foods, all the different treatments and things like fungal treatments, disease treatments, things like that I have done videos on over the years. So they're all in there. There's quite a few to choose from, so you're bound to find something you like in there. Click the subscribe button and you'll see me in my next video. See you later.